The following fake advertisement contains a voice generated through AI. It in no way represents a real product or the real actor.
Hey there, cool cats and groovy chicks. This episode of Moving Panels is brought to you by Super Slick Hair Gel, the secret weapon for hair so sharp it could cut through steel. Are you tired of your hair falling flat when you're saving the day? Want to look as slick as Tony Stark at a swinging 60s soiree? Then grab yourself a tub of Super Slick Hair Gel and get that superhero sheen. Super Slick Hair Gel is packed with power. Its special formula holds your hair in place through wind, rain, and high-speed chases. Whether you're battling bad guys or dancing the night away, your hair will stay as perfect as Superman's cape. Perfect for the everyday hero or the weekend warrior. Just a dab of Super Slick and you're ready to take on the world with style. And hey, it's not just for the fellas. Ladies, you can use it to keep those beehives and bouffants looking out of sight. Available now in 3 super scents: Kryptonite Kicker, Web Slinger Wonder, and Vibranium Vanilla. Swing by your local store in Metropolis or New York City and pick up a jar today for just $1.99. Look slick, feel slick, and save the day in style with Super Slick Hair Gel.
Welcome to this Moving Panels One Shot. Let's have a nerdy little conversation, and it's one of our favorite times. It's bracket time. And this time we are talking about the best comic book movie from the 2000s, and oh my dear Lord, this is the first time when we were making a bracket that we just went, man, there were a lot of movies, because this is when the boom hit. Yep. You had Blade that, of course, won our 90s bracket a few months ago. We had Blade in the 90s that pretty much kicked things off, and then here we go into the 2000s. MCU gets started, and things just blew up. But as always, when we do these fun brackets, we bring on our bracket masters. First off, from the 80s Flick Flashback podcast, it's Tim Williams.
Hello, hello, hello.
And our bracket master, he is the bracket connoisseur, if you will. From Pop Culture Roulette, it's Nicholas Pepin.
Like I've said before, I saw the bracket light, and I showed up.
It's the strangest spotlight ever. People are just like, what is that? It just looks like a bunch of lines. I don't know what we're looking at there. All right, but like I said, we got a lot of movies. Now I am gonna go ahead and tell our listeners we have trimmed this list down. I came up with the huge list of movies for Tim and Nicholas to look through, peruse, so they can go ahead and be realizing what movies we're going to be talking about. And then what I also like to do is I like us to mark off, like, oh yeah, I've seen that one, I've seen that one, I've seen that one, I've seen that one. Well, there were several that either none of us had seen or only one of us had seen. And then there were others that we went, you know what, let's not include those. Like, for instance, the Crow sequels. Nicholas, of course, is very familiar with discussions we've had on this show about the Crow sequels. Mm-hmm. And so we said, you know what, we're done talking about them. They wouldn't even come close to winning, so we're just not going to include them.
They go bye-bye.
We also decided to take out a lot of the straight-to DVD animated films. So, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, Gotham Knight, the Doctor Strange animated movie, all those different ones. Heavy Metal 2000 we took out. We also tried to take out a lot of the ones we'd include in our worst movie bracket a
Good
while
idea.
back. Yeah,
Good idea.
So Man-Thing immediately got eliminated. So we're not even throwing them on the list. So if you are listening to this and you're going, hey, but what about this or what about that? Just know that we did know it exists. We just decided not to talk about it. Like, let me ask you, any of you listening out there, did you ever watch the Turok movie? I bet you didn't. So
I'm not even sure.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a Turok movie. I just only remember the comic book and/or video game.
Yeah, I remember the video game. That first-person video game. I played that. Or Faust, Love of the Damned. How many of you have seen that
How many
one?
brackets has that shown up on, and we still haven't been able to find a way to watch it yet? So
because it was on the worst movie bracket, it was on the horror movie bracket, but yeah, I have found copies on eBay, but they're too expensive for me to willing to take the chance. So just letting you know, if you want to make any arguments about, hey, but you didn't include this, trust me, we thought about it. but there's a reason it didn't get included. But since we have so much to talk about, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to go through this first round really quickly. We're probably not even going to discuss things. We're just going to make our selections because this first round is kind of a knockout round. There's, like I said, 51 on here, so our top 10 or 11 or so probably went ahead and moved in, got a bye from this first round. So, of course, a lot of the ones we're about to talk about are going to get knocked out probably within the next 2 rounds. So, let's go ahead and jump into it. And first off, we have Hulk. Oh, Nicholas, the memories. Hulk versus X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, Nicholas, go ahead.
Oh, God. A really bad Hulk movie that led to a good episode, or a really bad movie that was my second date with my wife. So I guess that one, because I have good memories about that, but it's not a good movie.
Won't disagree. Tim?
Yeah, so on my list, Hulk is dead last. So bye-bye, Hulk.
Wow.
But that's the ones that I've actually seen that I remembered and could rank. So I don't think I've ever actually finished Hulk. So that's probably why.
Okay, so I think I talked about this back when Nicholas and I did the episode. I do have a fondness for this Hulk movie, but I am going to put X-Men Origins Wolverine over top of it. So we'll move that one in. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, both gentlemen, it gets knocked out in the next round. I already know who it's going up against. It's getting knocked out in the next round. All right, here we go. We've got Hellboy. Now, of course, this is the Ron Perlman Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against Whiteout, Kate Beckinsale
Hellboy.
thriller. Yeah, Hellboy for me. Tim, any argument?
Going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hellboy goes forward, yeah.
Yeah, Hellboy goes forward.
Knocking him out.
All right. I'm curious to hear y'all's because, believe it or not, this one I have a winner. I'm just curious what y'all have to say. So we got Unbreakable, which I am including. I don't want to hear anything from anybody. That is a comic book movie. Again, Moving Panels is about movies that are based on, inspired by, and adapted from comic books. So Unbreakable against The Spirit.
Oh, Unbreakable all day long.
Unbreakable.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. All right, next up, we've got Blade 2 against The Fantastic Four.
Oh, well, I mean...
I'm going Blade 2.
Yeah, Blade 2.
Yeah, I'll give you Blade 2. I would have maybe accepted an argument for Fantastic Four. I mean, It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
in retrospect, it's pretty terrible. At the time, it wasn't that bad.
Yes, true. Moving on, we've got 2 that were actually in our horror movie bracket. From Hell and Ghost Rider.
Oh, Ghost Rider.
These are actually very close on my list. And I actually put From Hell above Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Our first Ascension. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so up to me. Let's see. I don't dislike either one of these movies, but for just which one would I rather sit and watch again? It's Ghost Rider. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So
like
I'm
so,
going Ghost Rider.
They were very close, so I'm not upset with that.
All right, next up, I have a clear winner here, but I'm curious what you guys think. 30 Days of Night against Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Well, I never saw the Days of Night movie, so I have to go with Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
I've seen both of them, and
my winner is 30 Days of Night, so I'll leave it up to Nicholas.
Well, let's see. Neither of them are good, but one has Melissa George, so I'm voting for the one that doesn't have Melissa George. Fantastic Four 2.
Wow. So Jessica Alba over Melissa George is what I think you're saying there.
I mean, you're saying that.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but you're the one saying that.
All right. Next up, we have, I'm pretty sure this one's a clear winner. So I'm going to ask it this way. Would either one of you pick Art School Confidential over Wanted?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
Aren't I the only one that saw Art School Confidential?
I never saw it.
You may have been. You may have been.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those, like, oh, no, wait, actually, according to this, none of us saw it.
Oh, so I don't know how it made the list. It is what it is. Moving on. All right, we've got Spider-Man 3, so Dancing Peter, against some of you might be surprised to know this is based on a comic book, the Bruce Willis movie Surrogates.
I actually put Surrogates over Spider-Man 3.
I fell asleep trying to rewatch Surrogates, and I don't know if I've
Fair.
watched Spider-Man 3 since I saw it in the theaters. So that's a tough vote. I guess I'm going Spider-Man 3. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, I got to go Spider-Man 3 too, because again, and anybody who's ever listened to the show knows I'm a huge Bruce Willis fan, but Surrogates is a dull watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got to go Spider-Man 3 on that one as well. All right, next up, you'd be surprised that this is in the knockout, but this is an interesting pairing. Watchmen versus League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Ooh.
I mean, Watchmen?
I'm actually going League of Extraordinary Gentlemen over
I
Watchmen.
knew you would. Dang.
You've got to pick.
Because again,
You've got to pick.
I've said when we did our Alan Moore, our summer of Alan Moore, I did talk about how much I really do like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But
I will say I rewatched it recently because of the summer of Alan Moore, and it wasn't as bad as I remembered.
no, it's
the
fun.
Watchmen.
Yeah, it's
the
fun,
Watchmen
yeah.
is just a better movie.
Watchmen is a better movie. So yeah, I'm gonna go Watchmen. It's just yeah. All right. Here we go. Here's a fun pairing: Josie and the Pussycats versus TMNT. Now, keep in mind, TMNT.
Right,
That's
not
the
the-
animated one. Yeah.
Right.
I love Josie and the Pussycats. That movie is, I got it when I saw it the first time. It's brilliant. There's a lot that went into that movie that I think most people lost, but I'm voting Josie and the Pussycats.
I'm going Josie and the Pussycats too. So
All right.
you can say what you want, Tim. But
I think I had TMNT higher, but I think I was thinking of a different TMNT movie. So yeah, we'll go with Josie and the Pussycats.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have this. Okay. I'm just going to ask this. Would either one of you ever pick Catwoman? I'm not even going to tell you what it's up against. Would either one of you ever pick Catwoman?
Probably not.
I would. Yeah.
How about if it's up against X-Men?
No.
No. Not
Yeah.
even close on my list.
No, absolutely not. All right. Now we have another Bruce Willis movie that people may not know is based off of a comic book, technically a comic strip. Over the Hedge, the animated movie, Over the Hedge. You ready, Nicholas? Against Elektra.
You know who I'm voting for.
I know.
It's not going to win, but it's what I'm voting for.
I was about to say, but I'm telling you, I'm picking Over the Hedge. So Tim, it's all up to you on this one.
I have Elektra ranked higher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh.
All right. There you have it. Shocker right there, in my opinion. All right. So next up, we have X-Men The Last Stand against Daredevil. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I love Daredevil. So
Am
I'm
I
going with
allowed to
Daredevil.
vote for the director's cut of Daredevil?
Unfortunately, no. We are putting just the theatrical releases of each of these on here. So we are talking about the actual theatrical release of Daredevil.
No,
So
it's
Daredevil
not-
against The Last Stand.
I'm still voting Daredevil, but I'm protesting.
I would have voted Last Stand, but we already know that I not that it's the best movie, but I enjoy it more than other people do. So
Yeah, hey, and that's what I'm saying about Daredevil.
right.
Yeah. All right. Once again, we come back around for the Hulk, but this time it's the Incredible Hulk against Punisher Warzone.
I'm going Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, it's Incredible Hulk for me too.
That's the
That's the Edward Norton Incredible
Ed
Hulk.
Norton one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd go for that one over Warzone.
Yeah.
Warzone isn't bad, but the Hulk is better.
Yeah. All right, and continuing on with the Punisher, let's go with the Thomas Jane The Punisher movie against Men in Black 2.
I'm going Men in Black 2.
Men in Black 2.
I probably would have went Punisher, but well, I'm not upset with Men in Black 2 going forward. All right, we've got Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's. Oh, come on, this ain't even a contest. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man against Son of the Mask.
Oh my gosh, Spider-Man all day. How did that even get matched up
Yeah,
together?
to say, seem to remember saying I refuse to watch Son of the Mask,
Yeah,
even though it
never
was on
seen
the
it.
list. Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. I never have, never will.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's another one that's probably lopsided. 300 against Monkey Bone.
300.
300.
Yeah.
Never saw Monkey Bone.
I did. It's
I think I saw part of it, but I didn't watch all of it.
Shocker,
exactly.
I
what own it. So.
Yeah, it's exactly what you would think. It's every bit as dumb, but I'd probably watch it again.
All right, we got Constantine against Blade Trinity.
Constantine.
Ooh, Nicholas?
Blade
Trinity was a mess.
It was, but I seem to remember liking it more than I liked Constantine.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one because I'm not a huge fan of Constantine, but at the same time, I've watched it probably multiple times. I've only seen Blade Trinity once.
Yep,
so
same.
For that reason, I'm picking Constantine. All right, and then finally in this first knockout round, we have Superman Returns against Bulletproof Monk. Look, I don't care about my bias. Superman Returns is a better movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bulletproof Monk was not good.
Yeah. Wait until Tim and I compare it to the comic in a few weeks when we do that episode, because we are doing Bulletproof Monk.
Yes, I'll finally finish watching that movie because I've yet to finish it.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's where we now have our top contenders going up against the winners from that round. So let's see how this works out. You remember how I said X-Men Origin Wolverine is getting knocked out? That's because it's going up against The Dark Knight.
Yeah, gone.
Yeah, gone. Bye-bye. You are the weakest link. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, no questions there. All right, here could be an interesting conversation. Hellboy against Unbreakable. Yeah. My thought exactly. That is a tough one.
Yeah, these are very close, but I do have Hellboy ranked higher, but not by much.
No, I don't think I'm going to be upset no matter which one takes out this one, but I'm going to make it interesting for Nicholas, and I'm going to pick Unbreakable.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Hellboy.
Okay.
Because I like Unbreakable a lot, but Hellboy is like directly comic book, where Unbreakable is inspired by comic book.
True.
Fair point.
All right, I know we're doing just movies from the 2000s. What if this was the 2019 Hellboy? Would you still have picked it over Unbreakable then?
Absolutely not. I would not have.
Okay, just wanted to make it clear that even so, your argument would not hold up if it was against the 2019.
I wouldn't have
Hellboy.
even made that argument if it was.
Okay, and let's not even talk about this third one that I still haven't figured out. Has it come out yet? Did it come out? Is there? I don't know. This new Hellboy, yeah. All right. This is an interesting pair up. We've got A History of Violence against Blade 2. Cronenberg versus Del Toro.
I'm actually going Blade 2. I'm a big fan of that one.
I think I'm going to go Blade 2 as well.
I probably would have said History of Violence, but I think that's more the film buff in me. It is a better movie. But I'm okay with Blade 2 going forward. All right. Oh, and here's a very similar pairing, although I think this one's a little bit more one-sided. Road to Perdition against Ghost Rider.
I'm
going to go with a movie that I don't remember as well, but I remember I bought it, so that means I must have really liked it. Road to Perdition.
All right. Where's it on your list there, Tim?
It is ranked higher, but once again, not by very much.
Okay.
And I will say, I've probably seen Ghost Rider more than Road to Perdition. But like Nicholas, when I watched it, I really, really liked it. I just haven't really gotten back to it.
But it's one of those movies. It's so deep that it's difficult to justify a rewatch on that one.
Yeah. It's not just something you just pop in and say, I want to watch a movie. It's like you have to be prepared to go in that movie. So
that road, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying not to be too on the nose there, but yeah.
Oh,
good
come
job.
on. All right, yeah.
It's what
and I think I'm good with Road to Perdition winning that one, so that way at least that film buff in me gets the one win. Although, could you imagine if we had picked A History of Violence, then A History of Violence could have gone up against Road to Perdition. Oh, that would have been epic. All right, here we go. This one should be pretty easy. Iron Man, the beginning of the MCU, against Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Iron Man all day.
Iron Man. Is that even a question? I mean,
it was, because that's how these brackets work. All right, here we go. Now, you probably wondered why this hadn't been mentioned. Believe it or not, it was ranked higher than the original, so it's just now entering the fray. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, against Wanted.
I'm
going Hellboy 2.
It's Hellboy 2.
Yeah.
I would have voted Wanted.
I mean,
okay.
if
I've seen Wanted more.
If we were
Hellboy
voting
2.
for the actual books, it would have been Wanted. But if we're talking about the movies, it's Hellboy 2.
And here we go. Nice little independent film that I'm pretty sure not all of us have seen. Ghost World against Spider-Man 3.
Never saw Ghost World, so Spider-Man 3 moves
so
ahead.
Weird, and I think it was boring, if memory serves. I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched it, and I'm pretty sure I only watched it because Scarlett Johansson being in it.
One of her early ones. Her and Thor Birch.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna be the other one.
You don't even remember what the other one was. Just it'll be whatever the other one was.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'll go Spider-Man 3 too. Kind of make that comic book argument again. Yeah, it's more of a comic book movie. Even though Ghost World was a comic book, it feels just more like an independent film. So, all right. Fun matchup here. V for Vendetta or Watchmen? I'm going to go Watchmen. Both of these movies kind of mess up their ending, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think I'm more okay with Watchmen.
I think I'm going Watchmen as well.
I would have gone V for Vendetta, but those are literally right next to each other on my list. So it's hard to. That's a tough one.
Yeah. And we might be a little cliche on this. I think V for Vendetta doesn't get as much credit as it deserves.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It was a very good movie. I enjoyed it.
Oh, here's a battle that Bethany would have fun with. We are actually about to discuss this one, Persepolis against Josie and the Pussycats. I can't remember the list. Have either one of you seen Persepolis?
I've
never
not
seen it.
Okay. So I'm going to guess just for default, Josie and the Pussycats is going to move on.
Moves forward. Yes, it does.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe that'll change after you listen to the episode on Persepolis in a couple of weeks. All right, here we go. All right, Nicholas, you go first on this one. X-Men or Elektra?
Oh, well, I mean, it's X-Men. I mean, well,
okay.
We're talking about the original X-Men, right?
Yes, we are talking about the first X-Men.
I mean, listen, I enjoy Elektra, but I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote for the worst movie of the two.
I don't know what your love for Elektra is. We're trying to find where is your love for Elektra? Where is that love?
I mean, I love bad movies. I admit it. I do. But I mean, I still can admit, like, when I know there's a much better movie and it's X-Men.
All right.
Yeah.
Tim, you got any say? Because I'm picking X-Men too.
X-Men.
So.
Yeah, X-Men is. Yeah.
And now we got, well, you know the argument you just made, Nicholas? Here's my version of it. Batman Begins or Daredevil?
I mean, my vote is going to be Batman Begins.
Mine's Batman Begins as well.
Look, and again, like I said, this is as much as I love Daredevil, Batman Begins.
You know which one is a better movie.
I know which one's a better movie. All right, we've got X2, X-Men United, going up against The Incredible Hulk. This is again Edward Norton, Incredible Hulk.
I'm going X2.
All right.
I think I'm also going to go X-Men too.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to stick with X-Men 2 as well, because that was where we got like the Weapon X-ish story, and it was a lot better than whatever X-Men Origins was. So
yeah.
All right. Next up, we got another independent film, American Splendor, going up against Men in Black 2. It's Men in Black 2.
Yeah, never saw American Splendor, so.
That was the Paul Giamatti movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was really interesting.
It's a good independent film.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Men in Black 2 is
that rewatchability factor as well. All right, we've got Raimi's Spider-Man against Snyder's 300. Spider-Man versus 300.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm going Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
300 is good. It hasn't aged as well in more recent rewatches, but Spider-Man is still fun. It holds more nostalgia for me.
Spider-Man holds up.
Yeah. Great origin story.
And speaking of, I think this one's got a clear winner. Spider-Man 2 against Constantine.
Spider-Man 2,
yeah.
I agree. Spider-Man 2 is one of those cases where you could argue the sequel's better than the original, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sin City against Superman Returns.
I mean,
ooh.
Yeah, I want to be invited for future episodes, but I think I'm gonna vote Sin City.
You are. Look, listen, it's Superman versus Bruce Willis, so it's a win-win in my eye, no matter what. So.
Yes, Superman Returns was such a disappointment to me when I saw it. Like, I wanted to like it so much, and I really didn't. And I've never been able to watch it all the way through again. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to pick Sin City.
Okay, good.
So I've said this, we did the episode way back when on Sin City. You know, this is one of the rare movies in which they literally just pulled the comic book and they were able to actually make a good movie out of just making the comic book into a movie.
Right.
I got no problem with that. All right, that's the end of that round. So now things are really going to start getting interesting. All right, we've got The Dark Knight versus Hellboy.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, Hellboy is really good, but The Dark Knight, if we were doing just like best comic book movies of all time, The Dark Knight is going to be one of the ones that ends up towards the end of that list.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that might be tipping my hat as to how I'm voting for a lot of future rounds as well. But.
Right.
Well, I will tell you, I think I didn't say all this at the beginning, but I think people know I do seed this based off of IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic scores, and all that. Dark Knight is the number one seed. So there you go. Take with that as you will. I'm also going The Dark Knight, as much as I love Hellboy.
Yeah.
Dark Knight just is a better movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've got Blade 2 going up against Road to Perdition.
I mean, the film buff in you is going to be disappointed, but I'm going Blade 2.
Yeah, they're once again very close on my list, but I have watched Blade 2 more than I've watched Road to Perdition, and in this matchup, if I was given the two movies, which one would I want to watch? I'd want to watch Blade 2.
Okay. So, yeah, I would have given it Road to Perdition, but I understand both of your
Probably,
arguments.
like I said, it's probably the better movie, film-wise, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
Iron Man against Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
I'm going Iron Man.
Hellboy's just having a rough go right now because he's going he's going home altogether. But
yeah. All right, so Iron Man takes that one. And then we have Spider-Man 3 against Watchmen. Dear God, it is Watchmen.
Yeah. Watchmen.
How did Spider-Man 3 make it this far?
Look, how is Josie and the Pussycat still on this list?
Well, I will tell you why, but...
Spider-Man 3 went up against Ghost World. That's how.
Right.
All right, speaking of Josie and the Pussycats, we got Josie and the Pussycats versus X-Men.
X-Men. I mean, no matter what you put it up against, it was going to lose at this point for my list.
I mean...
What if it went up against Spider-Man 3? Would you have still picked Josie and the Pussycats?
No, I would have picked.
See, this is why I enjoyed the round robin ones we did for Joker and Batman. But if we were to do that with this, it would take forever.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, listen. Wait, what was Josie and the Pussycats up against again?
X-Men.
X-Men.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna vote X-Men, but let me just really quickly defend Josie and the Pussycats.
Sell us on this movie,
Go
Nicholas.
ahead.
I want to hear
it. It figured out how to make fun of what was coming before what was coming came. Like, it knew, like, it was, like, kind of future predicting, like, just the over-commercialization of everything with music, with movies, with... I think it was one of those movies that was definitely ahead of its time. And I think it's kind of found its audience since, but they even now have a hard time promoting it. It's hard to find... Like, it's not on streaming very often. and which is a shame because I think in today's market, if you were to sell this movie, it would make a lot more money and a lot more bang in the box office. Because I think people would get it now, where at the time, it was so ahead of its time, I don't think that people got it. And they didn't market it right. Like, they didn't market it as the satire that it was.
Yeah, and very meta. That's the other thing I like about Josie and the Pussycats, is how meta it is.
I mean, it obviously wasn't the first meta thing, but it was really... No. It was before meta was everything. Like, everything became meta. And it was, I mean, maybe it was the launching point of a lot of it, but, I don't know. I really enjoyed the movie, and I think it was really well done. However, in the world of comic book movies, X-Men is just far and away above,
because it is in that argument, along with Blade, as into the movies that started this boom that caused us to have all these movies in the 2000s.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So you would almost say that Josie and the Pussycats kind of is a backdoor movie. So that would kind of make you a backdoor lover. So
I see what you did there.
Thank you very much. All right, next up we've got Batman Begins against X2, X-Men United.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go Batman Begins.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go X2, X-Men United.
Of course you are.
Once again, very close together, but I got to edge it out with X-Men 2.
Let's see. What do I want to go with then? All right. I'm going to go X-Men 2. Because I think in both cases, I don't want to tip my hand yet for something that's about to happen. So I'm going to go X2. So let's go X2. All right, next up, we've got Men in Black 2. So we just got sequels just happening one right after the other. Men in Black 2 against Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man for me.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Men in Black 2 just isn't... The Men in Black movies got worse with each one. So
yes. Progressively.
Yeah. And you know what? And that really goes to show, because the first Men in Black movie made it almost all the way to the end in our 90s bracket.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, and then finally in this round, we've got Spider-Man 2 against Sin City. I got to think about this one, so maybe y'all can persuade me with your arguments.
I don't have to think about it. Spider-Man 2, and a movie that we've already talked about. Like, it's Spider-Man 2. It's hard for me to say it's better than the original. I mean, the first Spider-Man, but it's definitely. You already said it was definitely in the argument of the sequel surpassing the original.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the first Spider-Man almost equally. Like, it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's not necessarily a Terminator 2.
No.
Where,
But, I get the argument.
Yeah.
Sin City is a fun movie, but it's not. Like, Spider-Man 2, it's the template that I think most superhero movies that get it right have kind of based themselves off of.
Okay. Tim, how about you? Where's this on your list?
They are right next to each other, but Spider-Man 2 is higher for a lot of the same reasons that Nicholas saying. I think what the great thing about Spider-Man 2 that a lot of sequels don't do is it built off of the first one and didn't try to do too much. Like, it was a good balance of being a good sequel, continuing the story. It's one of the more successful, especially then, successful superhero sequels. Sin City is great, but it's not as... I don't want to say it's not as enjoyable. They're just two totally different movies.
No, yeah.
And it's hard to... So, yeah, Spider-Man 2 edges it out for me.
Yeah, and I think with Nicholas's argument and then what you just kind of said there, Tim, I'm going with Spider-Man 2 because it does a better job. Sin City's great. Love Sin City, will enjoy Sin City. But Spider-Man 2 did something like Nicholas said, it kind of set a tone for what a good comic book movie would be, especially in the emotion that it captured. I have talked about all the time how much I love a good sympathetic villain, and Doc Ock is a prime example of that in this movie.
And really, they do two sympathetic villains in that movie.
Sandman and Doc Ock, yeah.
No, Sandman was 3.
Oh, Sandman was 3?
No, Sandman was
thought Sandman was 2.
I thought Sandman was 2 as well.
Sandman was 3.
Okay.
Because I know that 3 was where they just kind of started trying to pump villains in.
Yes. Yeah, Doc Ock is the only villain in 2.
Okay.
Yeah, Sandman, Venom, and Hobgoblin, whatever you want to call them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
That's 3. So, because
well, maybe that's why this Sandman that's why Spider-Man 2 was so much better, is that they weren't trying to pump more villains
right
into it. So my argument's even stronger now.
All right, we are now in our Elite 8. So we're down to our final 8 here, and the first pair up we have is The Dark Knight against Blade 2.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Blade
like
2
Blade
is great,
2.
yeah, but it's not going to touch Dark Knight.
Yeah. Guillermo, you made a great Blade movie, but not enough to take out Nolan. All right. We've got Marvel versus DC, Iron Man or Watchmen?
Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm going Iron Man.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I probably would have tried to fight for Watchmen, but I'm not going to. Y'all were so confident on your answers. I'm not going to try to sway either one of you. All right. Now for the interesting matchups here. It's because we talked about, is the sequel better than the original? So let's find out. X-Men or X-Men 2?
I think X-Men 2 is better than X-Men. So they're neck and neck right now, but X-Men 2 is superior to X-Men in my opinion.
I mean, I think I'm going to go X-Men for this one anyway.
Because you know what the next one is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go X-Men as well. I think X2 is not a bad movie, but I do think the original is better. But now, let's really get to that conversation, considering we almost just had it a minute ago.
Spider-Man 2 versus
Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2?
Well, I'm glad we settled who was in what movie.
Yeah.
I actually have Spider-Man ranked higher, so I'll put my vote in early. So
well then, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and stand by what I said earlier. I do think Spider-Man 2 is better than the original, so I'm sticking with Spider-Man 2. So it's in your hands, Nicholas.
I think I'm going to go Spider-Man 2.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a 1A 1B argument, but I think I don't know. Maybe it's just origin movies don't entertain me as much. Granted, that was one of the early origin movies back when it would have entertained me.
Yeah.
But look, maybe it's a recency bias thing where I'm just like, I don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. I don't need to see Bruce and Martha die anymore. I don't.
Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah. I don't need to see the stuff like the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are perfect. Like they just started and they went. Like we don't have to live the trauma again.
Yeah. And I think that's what does it for me as well. Is that Spider-Man 2? We get to just go ahead and get into it. Mm-hmm. And I also, even though Sam Raimi still kept it light and colorful, I do like that Spider-Man 2 goes a little darker because there's still, I will admit this about the first Spider-Man movie. When Spider-Man and Green Goblin first confront each other, they're having the little celebration going on, the part where Stan Lee makes his cameo and all that. When they first confront each other and they're standing face to face, and I think Green Goblin grabs Spider-Man by the neck or something, it feels almost campy. It feels almost like you're watching a performance during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade at that moment. I think it's just too colorful, and their costumes are just too, you might even want to just say, too perfect at the moment. So I like the Spider-Man 2 goes a little more grittier while still staying very, comic book-ish. So that's my argument for Spider-Man 2. All right, so let's get into our final four. So let's just go ahead and start there. So let's go ahead and do X-Men versus Spider-Man 2.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going X-Men.
Okay. Do you have a rhyme or reason, or are you just going off your ratings?
I'm going off my ratings. I mean, I I had Spider-Man ranked higher than Spider-Man 2, but I just lost that battle. So, but yeah, X-Men is still higher than Spider-Man 2 on my bracket.
Right.
I mean, on my list.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I know what I'm about to do here, and I'm not sure I like it. But I think I'm gonna set myself up for an argument that I don't like. But I'm gonna go Spider-Man 2 over X-Men, but only by a hair.
Yeah. And I think I'm riding that same hair as you. So I think I'm writing my argument again about the one that gets more of an emotional response. I do think Spider-Man 2 gets that emotional response a little bit more than X-Men does. X-Men probably is more of a beloved comic book movie, but yeah, I'm going Spider-Man 2. So Spider-Man 2 makes it into our final.
Mm-hmm.
If they had done comic accurate costumes in X-Men, that would have been a different argument. But
We had the yellow spandex.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we go. Who does Spider-Man 2 go up against? Is it the Academy Award-winning The Dark Knight or the beginning of the MCU Iron Man?
I'm gonna let Nicholas go first because I've been quick to give my answers. So,
all right. This is tough because I mean, one, I'm definitely more Marvel than I am DC.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm about to vote DC over Marvel again, and I think if the guys who do PCR with me were listening, they wouldn't believe me. But I mean, at the end of the day, The Dark Knight stands with some of the best movies ever made, not just the best comic book movies ever made. Iron Man is really good, and obviously it gave us 20, 30 movies, you know,
Yeah.
and dominates most of my entertainment watching now, from Disney Plus to, you know, whatever else I happen to be listening to.
Yeah.
But The Dark Knight is darn near perfect when it comes to, you know,
Ooh,
beginning
wow.
to end movie.
Bold statement.
Different bracket, maybe Iron Man wins, but we're talking best comic book movies, best movie. I don't, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you made a statement earlier saying that it's
Mhm.
probably best comic book movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right, Tim, where does this stand in your rankings?
So Iron Man and The Dark Knight are my top two on my list.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of time thinking about this before we started recording. This is how I ranked my movies. I love both of these movies, very
of course.
very close
Yeah.
to being equal.
No question.
I do have issues with. I say issues. I love The Dark Knight, but in the multiple times of rewatching both movies, The Dark Knight gets a little long-winded, especially at the end. And
The
it's
Two-Face stuff?
no
No.
when the Joker has both like the criminals on one ship and the other, you know, just
Oh, yeah.
he has to choose between who he's going to save, kind of a thing, which they repeat again, he kind of does twice because he does the same thing in the middle with Two-Face, but yeah, so I'm going Iron Man for that reason. Iron Man is almost the perfect comic book movie for me. I mean, it's hard to compete with that one in my book. Dark Knight is a very close second, but I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm picking Iron Man over The Dark Knight. And as a big Batman fan that I am, that's hard for me to say.
Oh, wow. Both of y'all make very compelling arguments because I've been sitting here going, which one I had an idea of which one I wanted to go with, but both of y'all have made really good, compelling arguments. Man. So yeah, the Dark Knight, I agree with you, Tim. I do think there are elements of the Dark Knight that kind of start to drag. For me, it's a lot of the stuff with Two-Face.
Yeah.
I think that Heath Ledger is almost near perfect.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
as Joker, and most of his scenes are near perfect.
Yeah, I would say that Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker is what elevates The Dark Knight so much higher above other comic book movies. I mean, his performance alone, to me, carries the movie, and for the most part. I mean, not taking anything away from Christopher Nolan, is a fantastic director and put a good movie together, but yeah.
True. But, I'll agree. The boat scene probably gets a little cheesy a little bit, especially, having the criminal. What? My mind just went blank. Was that Tiny Lister?
It was Tiny Lister.
Okay, yeah. Having Tiny Lister being the criminal that, says no, we're not gonna push the button. It's a little cliche, a little campy in that moment, a little predictable, I would also say. But Iron Man was just such a great beginning to what, as Nicholas has said, has been the most successful movie franchise, in my opinion. Whether you want to argue Star Wars or not, but I still think the MCU has been just so successful and has led to so many great things, whereas, yes, Dark Knight's only part of a trilogy, didn't really continue anything after that. We now have a new Batman, but we're about to have a new Iron Man probably. So, man. All right, so let me compare here. Who's the better hero? Who does a better job as the hero? Is it Christian Bale's Batman, or is it Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man? It's Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Who's the better villain? It's Heath Ledger. But who's a better duo? It's Bale and Ledger. And so, in terms of a pairing of a villain, and that's what I want to see in my superhero movies. So, for that reason, I am going to go Dark Knight on that.
Wow. I thought I had you for a minute.
So, you made a good argument. You really did.
Nicholas was looking nervous too.
I didn't think, I thought Iron Man was going to go. No, I don't know if I'm happy about that, because I don't know if I want to. I know the matching we're about to debate now.
Yep. Here it is. Here's our final.
But you did say Bane, and you weren't talking about
Bale.
Bale.
If I accidentally said Bane, I meant to say Bale.
I was like, Bane wasn't in the second one, was he?
No. I was talking about Christian Bale playing Batman.
Right, gotcha.
Again, Robert Downey Jr. is a better hero as Iron Man. He fits Tony Stark a lot better than Christian Bale fit Bruce Wayne and Batman. But again, Heath Ledger is a better villain than Bridges was.
That's true.
As Jebediah. And then again, the dynamic between the two of them, because Bridges just was a little too over the top for me. Whereas Ledger, you might say he was over the top, but it was perfect.
It was in character,
for the Joker. So that's because that's what I'm looking for in, like I said, my superhero movies. I'm looking for that, the whole reason we read comic books. Good guy versus bad guy. And although Iron Man tells a great story about the good guy, and a story that sets up an extremely emotional journey that we go through with Iron Man, I think as a standalone movie, Dark Knight surpasses Iron Man. So that was my argument. All right, so here we go. Here is our final. We've got The Dark Knight going against Spider-Man 2. So the second movie in two different trilogies going up against each other in our final.
So which is the better sequel, or which is the better movie? Or both?
Which is the better movie? Yeah. Not which one surpasses its predecessor. Which one is the better movie? So, Tim, where does this stand on your list?
Well,
how close are they?
Yeah, I told you in my list, Dark Knight was number 2. I had Iron Man as 1. Spider-Man 2 was in my top 10. It was number 9. So, Dark Knight one's for me. Easy peasy.
All right, and Nicholas, what is your conundrum with this one? What is your eternal struggle?
It's that I don't want to vote for DC over Marvel, but I kind of feel like I have to. If we were to, again, I think this could potentially be the final if we just did greatest comic book movie of all time. Because when you look at list online of like greatest comic book movies of all time, not just 2000 to 2009 or 2010. I don't remember where you made the cutoff.
I should have stopped it at 09. Yeah, this should be okay.
Yeah. So we've done the decades. I don't know how many of the 90s movies would make it very far on that list.
True.
I think there's several movies, but I think these two would be towards the end of if we just did like a giant bracket of like 130 movies or whatever, Although if we just went with the IMDb ratings, the ranking systems, and just did like the top 32, these two movies would be very close to the end, if not having the exact same argument that we're having right now with these two movies. I do think, I like Alfred Molina a lot. I think he does a really good Doc Ock.
Absolutely.
I think had we lived in a world, a couple years before where Oscars were willing to nominate genre films, Alfred Molina would have at least been nominated. But the Oscars are pointless and stupid, and don't and don't know how to actually nominate quality films because they're so far up their own. Words I'm not allowed to say on this podcast.
Yeah. Or if you did, you'd get bleeped out when I edit anyway. So,
But yeah, I think I'm still gonna go Dark Knight over Spider-Man 2, but not begrudgingly. Like, I'm not happy about it, but yeah, I do think The Dark Knight is a better movie than Spider-Man 2, but only slightly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you have to think that's the case. When we went from 50 something movies and we're down to these two have to be so close together for them to have made it to the finals like this. And I will tell you, I mentioned Dark Knight was number 1 seed. Spider-Man 2 was number 6 seed. So it was up there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can argue. Sometimes Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes and the IMDb, they're skewed based off of kind of like what Nicholas was saying. Those critics that are a little bit too far up their own butt that they don't appreciate something that most normal people and regular everyday people would.
Right. And
Nicholas was coming really close to making a very similar argument that I'm trying to make in my head. I talked about how perfect Heath Ledger was as Joker. Alfred Molina was the same with Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we got to see him do it again in another Spider-Man movie.
Right.
And we loved it. And so, kind of like Nicholas said, if we lived in another world in which, unfortunately, the tragedy with Heath Ledger had not happened.
Right.
Imagine what else we could have had with his Joker.
A better end of the trilogy?
Very, very much so.
Yeah, for sure.
That is 100% true. But, again, just think of what maybe could have happened even into the Snyderverse and now James Gunn's version of DC. Could Heath Ledger had returned the same way Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe returned in the MCU? Could it have happened? And it would have been so exciting to see if it could have happened. And so it's hard to make a decision based off of that. And again, my argument with pairings, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock were a perfect pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Bale and Ledger's was a perfect pairing. So this is, as both of my co-hosts have said, this is so close. Both of them have already picked The Dark Knight, so clearly that is going to be our winner. But I wanted to make my argument, but I too am also going to pick The Dark Knight. So there you have it. Here we are. It is official. It has been decided that the best comic book movie of the 2000s, according to Moving Panels, the main and important source for this type of information, we have decided that The Dark Knight is the greatest comic book movie of the 2000s. So there you have it. Gentlemen, do you have anything to say?
It was a lot of fun and good matchups, good discussions. Like I said, a lot of comic book movies in this decade a lot of, say this, some good ones, a lot of bad ones that we got through pretty quickly. But,
and that's going to continue when we go into the next one, into the 2010s.
Yeah.
It's a lot more.
Once again, I would have preferred to see Iron Man on top, but I'm not mad about the Dark Knight. It's at the top of the IMDb listings for a reason. I have my own issues with it, but it doesn't keep me from watching it over and over again. I mean, I recently just rewatched it a couple of weeks ago just because I wanted to. So, and for, a lot for Ledger's performance, just watching him makes it worth a rewatch anyway. So,
Nicholas, any last words?
Well, you've already done The Dark Knight.
Well, we did the entire trilogy. I mean, I'm always we're 5 years in. I'm always willing to go back if we feel like we've got more to talk about.
I don't know if we do, but so I'm guessing that means we'll be doing a Spider-Man 2 episode now.
We'll see. We'll have to discuss which one we want to talk about. We can discuss that because I've already got some plans for the next couple of weeks. So this might be one we hold off on for a little bit, but we'll definitely tackle one of those two. I mean, we'll end up tackling all of these. What am I joking? That's what the whole point of this podcast is.
Right.
But definitely have, Chad and I did the entire trilogy, but you know what? It might be worth doing a deep dive just focusing on the Dark Knight all by itself. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in for this one shot. If you agree with us or disagree with us, we'd love to hear from you. So hit us up on social media, send us an email. But we are going to wrap things up now with The Dark Knight being our best comic book movie of the 2000s. So for today, for Moving Panels, I'm Laramy Wells, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.